Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. We have got a Raid Shadow Legends champion guide for the brand new Fusion champion Underpriest Brogni. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, huge thanks to Plarium. They have started hooking some of us up with access to a test server. So that is what I'm on right now. This is not my main account. They have been testing, giving access to a test server for some content creators so that we're able to get content out to you as soon as possible and test some of these champions to see exactly what they're capable of. So there wasn't some heroic effort to finish the Fusion first in the world or something. I am on a test server that we were granted access to. So thank you to Plarium for starting to do that. But as we dive into Underpriest Brogni, we're going to go to the Dwarves and then the legendary support Magic Affinity. Right here is Underpriest Brogni. And now, as always, for my champion guides, down in the pinned comment, nice and easy to find, I will have an infographic that you can pull up whenever you would like. The main thing I want to point out, especially on this guy, because he has a lot of different play styles, a lot of different ways that you can use him on your account, is down there at the bottom. These are generally useful masteries, but do your own research and don't blindly copy them. I tried to build the masteries in a way where he'd be kind of generally viable. Faction Wars, Clan Boss, we're going to want that War Master on there because he is decent in the Clan Boss with the A1 that places HP burn, the shielding, blocking debuffs, all sorts of different stuff that he brings. He is decent in the Clan Boss. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to be using him differently, you're going to want to use different masteries, but that is kind of some general utility kind of set up for him on the masteries. But let's put that away. It's down in a pinned comment if you want to pull that up. And first, let's dive into some base stat analysis. So for the base HP, basically 23,000. Not bad. We do want good HP on this guy. So that's a pretty decent base HP to help us scale up. The 782 attack is a little bit unfortunate. That's a really low base attack because his damage does scale with attack. His multipliers are actually pretty decent, but when your base attack is that low, it's going to be hard to make him a super consistent, hard-hitting DPS character. Base defense of 1266 is pretty solid. I like that. The speed of 100 is totally fine, and the crit rate and the crit damage are normal. But one thing to take note of is the crazy base resist of 90. I believe that is tied for the highest in the game. I think Mountain King and Skull Lord Vargal maybe, because like the dwarves in general have insane resistance. They're building them as kind of a sturdy faction, which I like. It makes sense, the dwarves being very resistant. We've got 80 on Trunda, yeah, 90, 90, 80. Yeah, so the dwarves just in general have a lot of resistance. But then I know Skull Lord Vargal, I think, is a famous one that has a bunch of base stats. Yeah, he's got the 90 and the 70 for resistance and accuracy, and then just insane on almost everything here. 107 speed. So yeah, Vargal's stats are just nuts. But the point is that Brogni here has a ton of base resistance, but a little bit unfortunate that he doesn't get any accuracy because he does need accuracy in his kit for stripping buffs and placing HP burn and some different things that he does here. You do need accuracy on him. So a little bit unfortunate. I wish they would have thrown like 10 or 20 on his accuracy, but all in all, the base stats are pretty solid. But then for some kit analysis, we've got an A1. It's going to attack one enemy one time with a 45% chance that we can book up to 60 if you invest 5 books in the skill, placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. So pretty good A1 here for boss fights, especially like early game, mid game, clan boss. You get that HP burn on the clan boss. You can really tick up some damage over the course of a long fight if you're able to live. And HP burn in general can be kind of useful. Spider, different boss fights, different scenarios. Pretty consistent source of some A1 damage over time, as long as you have the accuracy to place it. With the A2 is going to be an attack all enemies with a 75% chance that you can book up to 100, and it's going to be removing one random buff from all enemies. So it's not going to be like a full buff strip, something like a Sathalia, Madame Saris type thing, but still very solid when you couple it with the next tier, which is a 75% chance that you can also book to 100 of cleansing one random debuff on all allies. And on top of that, we're going to increase the value of shield buffs on all allies by 30% of the damage that he inflicts. We get a 10% bonus to that damage from the booking process, along with getting the percentages from 75 to 100 and a cooldown from 4 to 3. So the books are insanely impactful here on this A2. Then for the A3, we've got a place block debuffs buff and a 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also place a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of this champion's max HP, which is why I was saying good idea to get lots of HP on this guy. The shield buff cannot be removed. That can be super handy for some of those longer arena fights in terms of giving you a constant source of sustain that regardless of some of those squishy champions you have having a bunch of resistance, they don't really need it. It's going to place that on all allies and it can't be removed. And the book's also very impactful here. You've just got 2 of them going straight to cooldown. So you're going to go from 5 to 3 turns on the cooldown there of the A3. And he also gets a really cool passive that has no cooldown, just some inherent value. Whenever an ally is under a shield buff and they get attacked, it's going to reflect 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield back to the attacker. So we're just going to do some bonus damage for getting attacked. And then also we get a source of sustain by healing the ally by 25% of that damage inflicted to the shield. And if there are multiple champions with this skill on the same team, only one will activate. So we see that caveat pretty common on some of these impactful abilities that are based on inherent value. So Underpriest, if you've got 2 of this guy, you happen to get 1 out of shards and you have 1 from the fusion. If you've got 2 of them in an arena team, that ability of this passive is only going to proc from 1 of the Brognis. And then he also gets an aura of ally resist in Doom Tower battles by 60. So why not? Any aura he gets is a great thing to have because his kit is already super good. So adding an aura on top of that just makes him even better. So absolutely love his kit. Let's dive into the Brogni that I built here on this account. We'll talk about the gearing process, the booking, the masteries, and then we'll show him in action. And then I'll wrap up my thoughts on his whole kit and everything in general. Okay, so here is the Underpriest that I have got built here, and you'll see here I went with Shield and Immortal. I think that's a pretty solid, generally useful build for him. Obviously, the Shield set is not going to be very good in the Clan Boss. You wouldn't want to go that route, but if you're going to be using him in Faction Wars, Doom Tower, basically anywhere else, the Shield set is going to be a great choice on him because he's got a pretty decent base HP. He's going to be buffing up shields, doing great, and he synergizes pretty well with the Shield set, given all of that. And then also, obviously, the Immortal set would work great there. So if you want to see the total stats on this build, we've got about 85k HP. The attack, getting to 2k is nice, so you can do a little bit of damage, but it is tough. It's tough to get him to like 3k attack. His base attack is just so low. You'd have to really kind of prioritize that, and it would get in the way of getting some of these other stats that you want on him. Base defense at 2500, 207 speed. The crit rate, the crit damage, not a huge deal on him. It's nice to get some, but he's just not going to be a massive damage dealer. Then we've got the resistance of 200 and the accuracy of 316. So then if we move into the gearing, we'll start at the banner. Accuracy is a pretty good choice. You're going to want him to be reliable on the buff strip that he's doing. So pretty good to get accuracy on it. If you didn't go that route, you'd probably go HP. But I think in most cases, I would recommend scooping up that accuracy on the banner. The amulet, I would say HP probably the route to go here. And hopefully you're getting 1 or 2 accuracy rolls to go along with it. On the ring, with his base attack being so low, getting flat attack on the ring can actually be pretty significant. So I would probably go, I mean, really any ring, any main stat ring would work good. You just want to make sure you're getting as much stat as possible, getting lots of HP, and then scooping up whatever attack and defense you can get besides that. Then for the boots, again, you could almost go HP percent, especially if you're going to be wearing a shield set or something, but speed is totally fine. Either one, HP percent or speed. It's going to really depend on the build you're using and making sure he's slotting in with your team. Both could be viable. The chest and the gloves, I think we're going to want HP percent most of the time, and then getting your best blend of some of the attack and speed and accuracy and different stats that you need. The ones on top, you know the drill by now. It's a lot more simple. You just want to make sure it's synergizing with the bottom pieces, but these are those in case you are curious on the ones that I was using on the top here. And then we did talk a little bit about the booking process. I think he takes 12 books. It's going to be 5, 10, yeah, 12. He takes 12 to max out. He is worth it, especially if you're getting this guy, if you're finishing the fusion, or you summon this guy and you're not like ridiculously endgame yet, this guy is amazing. So you definitely want to book him. Honestly, even for endgame players, he's probably worth it to book. He's just a super fun one to have on your account. And if you've got the books to spend, he is worth it. And honestly, they're all pretty impactful. You could probably save a little bit on the A1, if anything, but the books on the A2 and the A3 are super impactful. So I would at least book those. And then if you get some good RNG and you save 1 or 2 on the A1, sure, why not? Then for the Masteries, again, like I said on the champion infographic down below in a pinned comment, if you want to pull it up whenever you would like to look at them. And let me pull up the perfect veil cloak here so you can see that I went with War Master. But the thing is like there's so many different ways to go, but the War Master does kind of benefit him because he's going to increase the amount of shields based on damage inflicted, and it's hard to make him do a ton of damage without sacrificing a lot of that other stuff that you would want, like the accuracy and lots of HP and sturdy defense. So the War Master Mastery that you see down there would be a good route to go in terms of helping him like get some bonus damage that he can do just kind of for free. And then if you end up wanting to use him in the clan boss to test him out or in different teams, then you would have that mastery ready to go. So it does make sense, and it's going to help your clear speed and faction wars and some of the different stuff that you're doing, but other masteries could be very viable as well. But okay, now I want to show you this guy in action, and it is a little bit tough on the test server. I'm not on my main account where we can jump in to the arena and do a bunch of crazy stuff, so I'm going to do my best here. Now, like, because on the test server, obviously there is no, like, arena. I can't refresh and get any opponents or anything. So I do somehow find some battles here in tag team arena, and I just kind of like lose and do them over and over again. So I don't like waste all my opponents. But there's a couple different things I want to show you with him in action, because his AI can be a little bit wonky. So if I take out the Duchess here and I put just kind of Valkyrie and Brogni, I'll kind of show you how his AI works and how it can kind of be manipulated to do different things. All right, so we've got, they're going to go, Valkyrie's going to place a shield. Okay, so now, remember he's got the A2 that's going to attack all enemies and increase what the shield does, and it's going to do all of, like, the debuff cleansing, or, yeah, the debuff cleansing and the buff strip. But he's also got this A3 that's going to place block debuffs, increase attack, and then also place a shield based on his HP. Now, we are wearing a shield set as well, so you can see here that we've got the shield set from the Valkyrie right here, and then we've also got the shield that the Valkyrie did right here. And if I click on his A1 and then I hit auto, you can see here I'm about to hit auto. I'll show you what his AI will prioritize. So right there, he places the block debuffs. So he did his A3 with auto, but I'll show you that he's doing that based on the block debuffs buff. So like, I think it would be good for him to prioritize the A2 to get that buff strip, debuff cleanse, and then extend the effect of the shields or make them bigger. I would like him to do that A2, but if you notice, he did that A3 right there, because right here we've still got the A2 on cooldown, or I mean the A2 ready to go, ready available, and the A3 is on cooldown. See, the A3 is on cooldown and his A2. I would have liked, I think in most situations, you're going to want him to do this, and I'll show you, you can actually get him to do that, but the thing is, you need to bring somebody who places that block debuff. He's going to do it based on the block debuffs being live. So let's go back into this fight again. No, I failed. Rip. Yes, I know. Okay, we're on it. Let's try this again. All right, so now if I bring Duchess, if I bring in the Duchess is going to place the block debuffs buff, and then if that is live on our team, Brogni will do the A2 that I think he should prioritize most times. You'll see that he will do it then. All right, so we got Duchess, does her thing. She places that super impactful ability that she does with the Veil and the block debuffs. Valkyrie is going to place the shield. Now, just a little side note, like I said before, the difference between the shield set and the shield that is placed by the ability, you can see that right here. The little quadrants, the little 4-piece shield with the white and blue quadrants, that's the shield set. Then this little half shield with the half blue, half white, that is going to be from an ability that Valkyrie just placed. So that's the two different shields. Now, if I put this on ×1 and I hit auto, he will do this Cavern's Grasp A2, and he will do that AoE attack and the buff stripping, the debuff cleansing, and the increasing the value of the shields. So if you watch, boom. See, now he attacks them all, and then you can see the Grow shield procced twice. So he was increasing the stacked effect of the artifact set and the shield ability from the Valkyrie. Sorry, hang in there with me. I know there's a lot going on, and I'm throwing a lot of words at you, but basically the gist is, from what I can tell, I haven't been able to test this guy for weeks or 100 hours or anything, but from what I can tell, his AI is going to be based on if your allies have the block debuffs buff or not. If they do, he's going to do his AoE attack, the A2, that I think he should prioritize most of the time. If they don't have block debuffs, he's going to prioritize getting block debuffs on your whole roster, so then he'll do his A3. I hope that makes sense. I tried to walk you through, but his AI is a little bit weird. I think it might be easier if he just, I think they may be getting a little bit too cute. I would try to just have him prioritize the A2 and then do the A3 the next turn. But that's just how I would have designed him. But let me know if you agree or disagree, and we can give Plarium some feedback on the champion AI, and I'm sure they'd be willing to adjust it if the majority of the player base thought it was just awful. And then I'll let this fight kind of play out just so you can see the animations a little bit. There's the passive that does the reflect and the healing. You can see that passive, the readout thing, just constantly going off. And there's that's his A3. So you can see the block debuffs up. Oh, and they'll actually, this fight would just go on forever because they'll just keep, unless they like target the Gore Grab or something, it would just go on forever. But yeah, it's a chance to just kind of see him in action. That readout procking. His passive does not have any cooldown, so it's just a lot of consistent value, especially if you're doing like a long-term tag team arena fight. But you're just gonna get insane value out of all those shields and extending how much the shield is, and then healing and reflecting damage based on the shield. Oh, and they might actually get the Gore Grab down. But anyway, it ended up working out well because you got to see him in action here for a little bit, so it ended up working out. And boom, there we go. And that is kind of some of the stuff that I want to talk about in terms of showing him in the arena and talking about his AI. So yeah, that was the long explanation, and then just the quick wrap up because I know the AI is important. I'll show you here. Right here, there is a shield buff up, and we don't have anybody with block debuffs. So then you will see that he is going to prioritize this A3 and place that on everybody. Boom, there it is. And then he'll do the AoE attack the next turn. At least that's how he's doing it in my testing right here. Then if we come out, we quit the series, and we put the Duchess in, and now his AI will flip-flop. He won't do the A3, he will do the A2 instead. So there is the Duchess doing it, and boom. And then he will attack, or sorry, he'll do the A2 instead. So he did the attack that time. So yeah, it's going to be kind of wonky and messing around a little bit, I hope. I showed it enough times for it to make sense. And let's go through and get this guy graded in the different areas of the game. Look at that. We're on the test server where he has never been rated. So we've got everything at a 0. We can set the pace and we can do it ourselves here. Campaign. So he's not going to be like a speed farmer or anything. He does have an AoE ability, and I'm sure he could be built enough to do enough damage. But yeah, you're not going to really want to use him as a speed farmer. But he'd be great for like progression in the campaign. So we'll give him a 4. Arena offense. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a 5 on arena offense and defense. There's lots of really cool things you can do with him in the arena in terms of building different teams around him, especially defensive style teams, getting a lot of value out of the different things that he brings to the table. The Void Keep, I mean, like he's going to be fine in these normal keeps. He'd be a great support. The Magic Keep, now he does bring the ability to strip like a random buff from your enemies on his A2 ability when he attacks. So that's actually really cool for the Magic Keep. So again, he's going to be a 5 there. The Spirit, he's going to be strong, and he can also the Spirit boss has a block debuffs buff, I believe, so he'd be very good there, and he's also affinity strong in the Spirit Keep. So sure, yeah, pretty cool. We'll give him a 5 there. Ice Golem, yeah, he's gonna help you live. He's got the shields, the consistent. He's got the reflect and the healing. The passive is gonna help you out. So, yeah, he's a 5 there too. The Dragon's Lair, yeah, I mean it's tough. The Dragon's Lair is a little bit more of a speed run, but he's really good in terms of helping you survive some of that stuff. So yeah, he's just a great support. And then for Fire Knight, probably his weakest dungeon. Because remember, he's just got that single hit A1. He's not going to be reducing turn meter or placing decreased speed or doing any sort of thing. But he does have Reflect, which could be kind of cool. Remember on that passive, he's got some Reflect, so we could get some bonus hits on the shield on that. So, yeah, he's like a 3.5. We'll give him a 4. He's just... But yeah, I mean, he could do some fun things in the Fire Knight. He wouldn't be completely useless or anything. Minotaur, he's fine. He'd be a great support there. Spider, so again, kind of similar to the Fire Knight. You'd like to have some of that turn meter or decreased speed or some sort of manipulation, max HP. But remember, why are champions like Miscreated Monster so amazing in the Spider? Shielding. He's an amazing champion for increasing the value of shields other people bring, placing shields, placing block debuffs so he can stop poisons. So he'd be a great champion for the Spider as well. Let's go 5 there. Clan Boss, you can block the stuns, you can block some of those debuffs, you can place an HP burn on the A1, and some of those shields can be good for some of your more early to mid game comps. in surviving some of those big abilities from the clan boss. So yeah, he's like a 3.5 or a 4. Maybe not like end game god meta, but yeah, pretty solid in the clan boss. And faction wars, he's absolutely gonna be amazing for the dwarves. The shielding to help you live. The dwarves face the red boss, which is the boss that has that A1 that ignores all your defense and it just slams you down. It one-shots your team off the A1. So pretty crazy and frustrating boss. The dwarves are pretty consensus one of the top 3 hardest factions for people to clear. They have been getting some champions to help with that, like Melga and this guy right here. So definitely some improvements there to the dwarf faction crypts. But yeah, the gist is he's going to be amazing in faction wars. So let's go ahead and send those out. That is what it looked like. He is just an insane champion in terms of general utility. So let's go ahead and have a nice little wrap-up discussion. I'll pull up the infographic in case you want to look at that while we're talking and just kind of see some of the general info. But yeah, so I think now that I've kind of played with him, tested him a little bit, feel free to let me know your thoughts on the AI and how it looked in terms of how it was functioning. I do want to do a lot more testing, get this guy on my main account, use him in a bunch of different areas and try to get a feel of that AI. And I'll always keep you guys posted on stream and stuff of what I'm finding. But in terms of my initial testing, it looked like it's based on that block debuffs buff, and it can kind of change based on the allies you have and if they have that buff up live or not. So a little bit weird. Let me know if you like that or not, because we're always willing to give the feedback on the AI. But other than that, that was the only thing that I was kind of like, I don't know if that's optimal or not. Other than that, he's amazing. I would say he is one of the top 3 fusions that we have seen come through in the game. You've got like Tormund, Rhodos, and Underpriest Brogni. I would say that's the top 3 fusions that have hit raid in terms of being excited to do the fusion. That would be the top 3 in my opinion. So he's going to be a great fusion event. Definitely go for him if you can get him on your account. It's always great to get a support in general. And then to boot, he's amazing for the dwarf faction wars and all sorts of account progression. So I would give them like a 9 out of 10 on designing this guy. There really isn't a whole lot of a change other than maybe ironing out some of the issues with the AI to get it to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more customizable. Hopefully at some point we get the ability to do that in the game and prioritize some of those abilities in the way that we want to do it. So yeah, as always, would love to hear your thoughts down below, and thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.